Actually, before we get started, I did want to apologize for last time because I shouldn't shame for you having not seen this movie before.
Oh, that's totally cool.
No, it's not, because like everyone has movies that they haven't seen. It just took me off guard. I was like, wow, Lance hasn't seen this movie. Instead, I should have been like, wow, you get to see this movie for the first time. But instead, I got all fucking uppity about it. And I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's usually my first reaction to some movies too.
Okay.
Especially if it's one of your personal favorites. I totally get it.
Okay. So just putting out there, I'm sorry. So
And I was actually looking for like my pick to be something that I didn't see you had logged on Letterboxd, so hopefully I could have pulled that card too. Like, you haven't seen it? What the fuck? But I went with, I don't know. We'll see how we feel about my pick.
Okay.
You've definitely seen it.
Okay. All right, let's kill some kids then.
Prepare yourself for the terror. The prison of madness, where few enter and none return.
Welcome to Unsung Horrors with Lance and Erica.
Leave all your sanity behind. It can't help you now.
Welcome to another episode of Unsung Horrors, the podcast where we review underseen horror movies, specifically those that have fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. I'm Erica.
And I'm Lance.
And before we get into our movie for this episode, I did want to just do a couple things real quick. We did get a new 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Nice.
So thanks to Dustin for reviewing us there. And for other folks, if you do listen to us on Apple Podcasts and enjoy the show, we definitely appreciate reviews or even just ratings. Also want to thank a couple of other folks who've been telling their friends or followers about us. Robert, who shares when he listens to our episodes on CastBox via Twitter. Also Matt, who did a write-up on his blog, kino-ventura.blogspot.com, as well as The Giant Be With You on Twitter. Both gave us and Twitch of the Death Nerve a shout-out. So
nice.
Appreciate that. Thanks for sharing that you guys enjoy the show. And also, I guess this is kind of a first, but we did talk about at the very beginning of the show, when we launched it, that when Alamo Drafthouse had opened back up and we're going to start doing Terror Tuesdays and Weird Wednesdays again, that we would be adding sort of a really short Drafthouse segment, like what we've seen at the theater.
Yeah. Not
like new movies, because, I don't care. But like specifically their Terror Tuesday, Weird Wednesday, things like that kind of programming.
Yeah.
So I actually went to 2 Weird Wednesdays this month, and I did want to share them because I had a really good time at both of them. So the first one was Drive from 1997, not the Ryan Gosling movie. So 1997, directed by Stephen Wang, starring Mark Dacascos, the Iron Chef guy.
Oh, yeah.
And so Stephen Wang is a Hong Kong director, and so he brought Hong Kong stunt guys with him to make this movie. And it's a lot of fun. Laird actually put together a DCP of the 4K restoration of it, and it was the director's cut. So it was almost 2 hours. And I did feel the length of it a little bit, but it's a lot of fun. It's got great action scenes in it. Brittany Murphy is in it, and she is nuts in this movie. Like every time she's on screen, like the whole audience was laughing. And there's this one scene in particular where, so the guy who is traveling with Mark Dacascos' character, he is fighting with one of the henchmen who's chasing them, and the henchman guy busts out a whip, and the buddy guy that Dacascos is played by Kadeem Hardison. And so the henchman breaks out a whip, and someone in the audience yelled out, like, "Get the fuck out of here." And it was hilarious.
Nice. I miss seeing movies in the theater.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that's actually on Tubi. It's not the director's cut, but I still would recommend it. It's fun, especially since we'll be out of October. It's non-horror movie time coming up here soon.
Yep.
Actually, no, when this comes out, it will be November. So, and then the other one I watched is called Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway. And this is from 2019. This is by a French director, but it was filmed in Ethiopia. And I tried to write a review of this describing the movie. It's impossible to do it. So I'm just going to give you part of the Letterboxd synopsis. A cornucopia of stylistic influences, virtuosic cinematic techniques, and set design ranging from stop motion animation to stylized live action. Yanso's latest blends interdimensional intrigue, spy-fi kung fu, and Philip K. Dick-esque mind-melting weirdness to achieve truly unclassifiable results. I mean, it's about two guys who are supposedly CIA agents, and they're going into a virtual reality world. And when they are in there, that's when like sort of the stop motion effects are applied to them in that world. But they have these masks on while they're in that world. I can't describe it. I'm not even going to try. I would just say watch it. It's a trip. It's on Tubi as well.
Great.
So yeah, definitely check out both of those. If I had to choose one or the other, I'd say Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway would be
Nice.
one to
And it's a
watch.
2019 release.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So it was cool that Laird brought that to Weird Wednesday. I think everyone was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, when I saw some people posting about it, did you even write it in your review? Like I tried to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was very intrigued by it. So that one's definitely added to my watch list.
Yeah. Let's get into the movie for this episode.
No Rules November.
So if you missed last episode, we did introduce that this month we are breaking our rule of movies having to have fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. And so I picked a personal favorite, and that is Who Can Kill a Child from 1976, aka Island of the Damned, aka Death is Child's Play, aka Hex Massacre.
Hex Massacre.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense to me. This is the first time I had seen this movie. And then when I saw Hex Massacre, I realized, oh, this is Erica.
Yes. This is me through and through.
Yeah.
These people are on their way to a peaceful island paradise. But they are about to find out that it's a nice place to visit, but you could never live there.
There is something wrong on this island.
Island of the Damned,
Tom, what's going on? What are those shouts?
where something strange is happening, and only they know why. You can see the innocence in their eyes. What you can't see is the evil in their hearts.
Scream! We're getting out of here. We're gonna run.
Island of the Damned, where a dream vacation becomes a nightmare. Island of the Damned.
So as of this recording, it doesn't matter how many views it has on Letterboxd because we're not abiding that rule this month. You can watch it on a Mondo Macabro Blu-ray. There is also a Dark Sky DVD out there, but I think that's out of print, so it's better to just pick up the Mondo Blu-ray anyway. Great special features on it too.
Yeah.
Okay, quick synopsis of Who Can Kill a Child. Tom and Evelyn travel to a remote island off the coast of Spain on their vacation. Once there, they find the small fishing village seemingly vacant, with only groups of children running around laughing and playing, but never speaking to them. Tom and Evelyn soon discover that all of the adults in the village have been killed by the children and must find a way off the island or will soon meet the same fate. This was directed by Narciso Ibanez Serrador, better known as Chicho Serrador because his father had the same name, Narciso Ibanez. He also directed, he had very few film credits. He mostly did television, which I'll get into. Probably his most notable film besides this one, though, is The House That Screamed, 1969. This one is, I think it's, where did I watch it? Actually, I watched it on Tubi, but it wasn't just the movie. It was actually part of Elvira's movie Macabre type thing.
yeah.
So it was kind of funny to have like watching this as like an Elvira programming thing. This movie has a great fucking ending. Just be prepared for a very slow burn on this one.
Okay.
So then he also did a movie called Blame in 2006, which was part of 6 films to keep you awake. So these were all Spanish directors, including Alex de Iglesia, who did Day of the Beast, Paco Plaza, who did the Rec films, Rec and Rec 2. I've seen Plaza's entry called Xmas Tale, and I didn't really care for it very much, but I know some people did like it. And so I did watch Blame, and I have to say, at first I was totally on board with it because it seemed very progressive. And then at the end, it turns into this pro-life bullshit. And I was like, oh, okay. And Honestly, once we get into our discussion of Who Can Kill a Child, I can actually see the sort of connection there with it, because this director really does like children, and he just has a really weird way of portraying that. So I don't recommend Blame. It's, aside from the messaging in it, it has a ton of loose ends that never get tied up, and it's just not, I didn't think it was very good.
Okay.
So the 6 films to keep you awake was sort of an offshoot of Historias para no dormir, which is was a Spanish horror anthology series which ran from 1966 to 1968. And then Serrador picked it back up in 1982. So these were all written and directed by him. I couldn't find any of them online, at least none that had English translations or subtitles or anything like that. I think it's one of those things that one of these days will, if they find all of them or some of them, we'll probably get some kind of box set release or something like that. But
I really need to learn Spanish.
Sí. Yo también.
Muy bueno, Erika.
I need to learn so many. If I had to pick anything, it would probably be, I mean, obviously Spanish would be the most practical given where we live. Mm-hmm. But yeah, French and Italian would be close after that. Yeah. And this is just so I could watch movies. Possibly Cantonese too, because man, there's a lot of Hong Kong movies that I'm like, God damn it, there's no fucking subtitles.
And we don't know how true the subtitles are too. So when I feel like I'm quoting a movie that's subtitled, I'm not quoting the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. The score was done by Waldo de los Rios. He also did Serrador's The House That Screamed and a movie that we've covered on this podcast, Corruption of Chris Miller.
Yeah.
Lance?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
No, I mean, he has a haunting score in this. And I don't know if he contributed to the opening sequence where there's a lot of children, just la lines and giggling and stuff. I don't know if that was involved in his, original score. But yeah, it's a really good score. I mean, I don't really have anything else to add to that.
Okay.
Nothing profound, or it didn't blow me away, but I think it's a perfect fitting.
Yeah. I didn't really have any notes on it either. I was like, it was good.
Yeah. Well, I went back and looked at the Corruption of Chris Miller notes that I had, and I had no notes on the score either there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, it was not bad.
Right. It's not anything that's distracting, but it's also nothing standout either. So production. So this was actually based on, well, not technically based on a book called El Juego de los Niños, or The Children's Game, by Juan Jose Plans, from 1976, the same year. So director Serrador said that the novel was actually completed after his screenplay. So apparently the two knew each other and they had talked about the story itself. Serrador went off and wrote the screenplay. Plans went off and wrote his novel. And the novel has more of a fantasy sci-fi element where pollen or some sort of yellow powdery substance falls on the island, which is the reason for the children behaving the way that they are.
Right.
So it does have the same idea and general plot, like two characters, but I think like where they came from, the characters in the book are actually from Spain, whereas this couple is British tourists. So,
and I guess another main similarity too is the wife is pregnant too.
Yes, yeah. Also, one other note about the production, there is a 2012 remake called Come Out and Play. Did you watch this?
No, but you've talked about it before.
Fuck this movie.
Yeah.
It's directed by Makinov, Makinov.
Just one name?
He's one name. This is his only movie. He has never shown his face. He's released a few videos of him. So we'll get into some of the political messaging of Who Can Kill a Child from the director. Mm-hmm. So Makinov basically did a shot-for-shot remake of Who Can Kill a Child, and it sucks as much, if not more, as Van Zant's remake of Psycho.
Is it the full cut? I mean, does it have like documentary footage in the beginning, just like that? Just like Who Can Kill a Child, do you remember?
Ooh, honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
Because I watched it a few months ago because I was like, oh, child murder, and let's see what this is about. And I don't know how... It's the weirdest thing to me when you make a shot-for-shot remake, but it's so fucking bad. Like, I remember walking out of the Psycho remake and being actively angry about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get remakes, but I do not understand shot-for-shot remakes.
Yeah. I don't understand the point of doing it at
Right.
all. It's like, I want to pay homage to it, or what? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
And this guy had some other sort of angle with it where he was, I can't even remember what his political message was. It was something to do with some atrocity that's going on about it. And he was trying to push that messaging through with his version of
Was
the
it
film.
like current politics?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's, fuck that movie. Mad. I'm actively mad about that movie just talking about it. So I need to move on.
Spoiler alert, that's my No Rules November pick.
Vetoed. Cinematography was done by Jose Luis Alcain. He's worked a lot with Pedro Almodovar on films such as Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, Volver, Pain and Glory, The Skin I Live In. And he said in an interview that Who Can Kill a Child was not shot to look like a horror film, but as a quote unquote normal movie in order to support the idea that this could happen to anyone, anywhere.
Makes sense.
Getting into the cast, it's pretty minimal because we're obviously not going to go through who all the children are in this movie.
There's only one that matters.
There's only one that matters. So let's talk about her first. Marian Salgado is one of the children. She actually has a front and center action or scene in the film where she beats an old man to death. And Marian Salgado played Susan in Demon Witch Child, which we covered on an earlier episode.
Yes.
The main couple, Tom and Evelyn. Tom is played by Louis Fiander. Serrador actually said in an interview that he didn't like him very much, and he actually tried to get Anthony Hopkins for the role.
Yeah, I had heard that interview as well. And that kind of surprised me because I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I think he's great. And I think I like it when you don't have a star in a movie like this. Like, I get it. It draws people in, but...
And I guess it was 76. I mean, Anthony Hopkins, I'm sure he was obviously huge.
A well-known name by that point, yeah.
When I listened to that interview, I kept envisioning Hopkins in this character. And to me, I was like, no,
it doesn't work.
It wouldn't have worked. But his chemistry with his wife, Evelyn, I thought was perfect.
Yeah, I thought it was great. So he was also in not prevalent roles, but he was also in Dr. Phibes Rises Again, I Start Counting, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, and The Doctor and the Devils from 1985, which we talked about in our Flesh and the Fiends episode. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the ones of those that we did. I think you watched that one, right?
Yeah, that's the one with...
the 85 one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the
James Bond was in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my least favorite.
Yeah. And then the wife, Evelyn, is played by Prunella Ransom. She has very few film credits. This is actually her most well-known film. But she was also in Far From the Maddening Crowd and Secret of Seagull Island. I didn't get a chance to watch either of those, but Secret of Seagull Island I found on YouTube, so I might check that out soon. And then I guess the only other person worth mentioning is Antonio Iranzo. He plays the father of the crying girl at the hotel. And he's been in a few films that I've seen, Cutthroats 9 and Naschy's Inquisition.
Yeah, Cutthroats 9 is really fun, but he has such a look to him. Like he could be cast in anything. I love this guy's look.
He's in a lot of he's got a very recognizable face, but then I looked at his filmography and I was like, oh, I've only seen actually a couple of the films. So
yeah, he's big in spaghetti westerns too, and I know I've seen some with him in there because his face is just so recognizable, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's it for the cast and crew. We'll get into more of this film right after this promo from our network.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
I guess I want to start with the opening.
Yeah.
We don't normally go in chronological order. We just kind of whatever we want to talk about. But so the opening, I think it's like 7 or 8 minutes long, is all archival. It's very long. It's archival film of dead children from like war and famine and all this other stuff. It's, think Mondo exploitation documentary type of footage. Now, Sarador actually said in an interview that he made a mistake of putting the archival footage at the beginning and that he should have put it at the end in order for the audience to leave watching the film with the message that war is caused by adults and kills children. This is the vengeance of the children against their enemy. And then that whole message comes out when Tom is in the shop, and the shop owner says like the news is on and there's something terrible on the news. And he says, the world is mad and the children always suffer the most, or something.
Yeah.
Like
and
that.
War and famine. Yeah. Whatever, like huge atrocities that are kind of all adult man-made. Mm-hmm. The women or the children suffer the most.
Yeah. So I get the message, but it's honestly the one part of the movie that does not work at all for me.
100%. I was going to ask you, what did you think of Sarador saying that he should have put it at the end? Do you think that would have still fit, or would you have just removed all that stuff?
I would have taken it out altogether because so actually something that came up in the commentary. So Sam Deegan and Kat Ellinger have a commentary on the Mondo Blu-ray of this. And I thought it was really interesting because Sam mentioned the first time that she saw it was without that archival footage. And that's my same experience. Like I had a bootleg of this and it did not have that stuff. And so my experience is that I was used to seeing it without because I didn't get the Dark Sky DVD because I was like, I've got a bootleg. I'm fine. I don't it's never worked for me that way. And Sarador even said in that same interview, he said, that people are born with both good and evil in them. So for me, this movie has always been about sort of the nature of evil, that, everyone is born with both good and bad tendencies in them. And I think because there's never any explanation offered for the children's behavior, normally it's like chemical or some sort of, trauma, what have you. This makes it that it's even more clearly about these kids are just fucking evil, though there does seem to be some sort of way that they pass it to each other in some sort of supernatural way, like their eyes meet or like the one girl touches Evelyn's belly. The message to me is still that. So without that social message, I like it that much more. I like the idea of let's just take out the archival footage. Let's take out that line from the Photoshop guy and say, here's this situation where this couple who has kids, who the wife is pregnant, is in this situation with these kids who are killing all the adults and their own life is at stake. These are people who obviously would care about children, would think twice about it. Obviously not me. I'd be like, fuck this. I'm taking out some kids.
Obviously.
So asking that question about it still works completely well. So for me, I'm like, I don't want the archival footage in it. I don't think it works at all. Like, it just feels like, oh, you've got your message film. Like,
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, to me, it ruins the title of the movie. I mean, as soon as this starts popping up, and there's a lot of haunting stuff, like I already pointed out, the children get, giggling constantly over these images, which shows, this creepy, or gives you this creepy vibe. But it immediately answers the question to the title, who can kill a child? It's like, obviously, they're casualties of war. Those in power can kill them. Adults can kill them.
Yeah.
Those are the people who do kill them. So for that to run on for almost 10 minutes of just scene after scene, you have Auschwitz, you have like the Civil War in Nigeria, all these atrocities.
Yeah.
And that, as soon as I saw that, it totally took me out of it. It should have started exactly, I guess, what the Island of Death or whatever it's called starts, which is the body or the kids on the beach, and the sunny beach, and then a body washes up. You're still immediately introduced to murder and death, but it's not so in your face and real. It sets the tone to this political message, like you said, that is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
And that shopkeeper scene too, though, that he kind of spells out everything. He's kind of essentially outlining the plot. Like, children always suffer war, famine. It's always the children who are affected by the worst. And I get it, but leave it to where you just pick up these mysterious hints and you're kind of,
there you go.
It removes all ambiguity from this movie. And those two scenes completely, I think I would have actually raised my ratings if those weren't in there.
That's why it's I'm spoiler. It's a 4.5 out of 5 for me because of that. Because I'm like, and I think of a lot of it too is just, my memory of first time watching it where I'm like, holy fuck, I love this movie so much for, what it is. And then like, actually John and I disagree about the opening. He's like, oh yeah, like it's super like, you're getting into something that's going to be totally fucked up with like that opening. And I'm like, like I get that, but it's also overkill. It's 8 fucking minutes long. And even if you cut it down to just like a couple minutes of credits with that stuff rolling, it still doesn't need to be in there. It's still such a great movie with a great build up to where they finally get pushed to the point where, I'm going to have to kill some children in order to survive. So without the social message, I think we can focus on what does really like make this film great. And I think the biggest part of it, and I kind of talked about already about it being daylight horror, which is really hard to get right.
Yeah.
So it's this juxtaposition of nothing and everything being hidden from us. Majority of the film takes place in very bright daylight, but it's not overexposed like fucking Remake. As opposed to most horror films, which only allow, their monsters to come out in the dark.
Right.
But I don't know, like despite the daylight, we as viewers, along with a couple, were left in the dark as to why the village is seemingly vacant. We show up with them and we're like, yeah, where is everybody? It's just these kids hanging around. And I think like the wife is even more so confused because only her husband speaks Spanish and can communicate with the father. And so she's sitting there watching them talk and is like, wait, what? Like, what did he say? So she's even more in the dark. Also, the fact that he's not being honest with her about what he's seen. And so
that's
he's kind of
frustrating.
leaving her in the dark. So the children not talking, again, is another piece that leaves you in the dark. And I do like the fact that they don't spend any time trying to develop the children as characters, because then it makes it that much like, I feel like it makes it much easier to, decide like, okay, I need to do what they have, what has to be done here at the end. It's like, I
you don't want to
bad.
humanize any of them.
Yeah, no, don't humanize the children.
Nobody has names except the two main characters, so it's like kill them all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. The daylight horror is just so much scarier than the killers coming out at night, and it's not just that everything's happening in the daylight that's terrifying, and the fact that there's obviously these killer children running around, but the setting, the whole environment, we're in this isolated area in the broad daylight, and there's escape, but it's a boat. But that's not even thought of really until the end of the movie. But this isolation is what's, I think, one of the most scariest parts.
Yeah.
Because they're the only two. I mean, we're introduced to a few more adults in the movies, but they're the only two people that are walking around this desolate place with, melted ice cream stands and empty bars and burning food. And they're just, something's wrong. Evelyn seems to sense something's wrong. One thing I did like about the Tom character is he seems like such a comfortable traveler, having been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's somebody I'd probably want to travel with. He seems like, oh, here's a bar, here's a house. I'm just going to walk into this house. He's very comfortable, and that's what I really liked about him. I was interested to learn, or I want to know why Sarah Dore didn't like him. I don't know if it was a personal reason or if it was performance, but yeah, the whole isolation, the whole setting, the whole environment is incredibly horrific and scary to me, and it all taking place during the day is what really accentuates it.
Yeah, I think even with him having been there before, though, that other element of, okay, we're in this isolated environment in the daylight, but we're also traveling somewhere. And yes, he's been there before. And when you travel somewhere, especially when it's new, because I think he said he hadn't been there since he was a child.
Right.
So when you travel somewhere new, you don't know if something isn't right. Like if I drive down the street and I see like all of a sudden it's, deserted or whatever, I'm going to be like, what the fuck is going on? And immediately be on guard. Here, because there's a festival going on the mainland, there's all these excuses for why it's that way. And there's so you have that added element of not knowing something is wrong until it's almost too late.
Right. Tom seems to have a reason for what's happening, or he seems to be trying to come to reason, like why it's so isolated. And, probably too, he probably does this to calm the nerves of his pregnant wife.
Right.
Which, I mean, this is just me being, kind of observing and being nitpicky. But, when you're as far as long as she is, I don't know if she should be traveling. And is red-haired, fair-skinned. I don't know if she should be traveling to this sunny, isolated beach. Because there's scenes where I was like, oh my God, they look completely sunburned.
Yeah.
And I do have to point out, too, when she attempts to speak Spanish, when she even says like, gracias.
Yeah.
It's gracias. Oh, gracias. We're going to go to, what was she calling the place? Almanzora.
Yeah.
When it's out,
it's a Z. And so it's like, yeah, you can say Almanzora.
Yeah.
It's fine.
When she speaks, it reminded me, because, I grew up in the Rio Grande Valley in Lover, Texas. It reminded me a lot of the Winter Texans. I mean, everybody does it, you know, and I'm sure a lot of, people who, when tourists come to countries and they attempt, they're either annoyed that these tourists are trying to speak their language, or maybe they think it's funny and endearing and they appreciate it.
Sure.
But this just brought me back to when I'd go to Mexico and all the Winter Texans are there and they're ordering food and they're like,
gracias.
Yeah. And they laugh and stuff even afterwards. To me, it feels like, okay, they're treating it kind of as a joke.
Right.
But her intentions are well in this, but
they are.
Her Spanish speaking is so white.
Yeah. The pregnancy, though, I think is obviously that becomes an important plot point later on. Mm-hmm. But I think that's another piece that adds to this other layer of complication to it. You've got a woman who's 6 months pregnant. So obviously she's going to be she's going to be like some sort of obstacle, or like it's going to be more difficult for them to get away because of her condition.
Yeah.
So it's like she's kind of a hindrance to their survival.
It's true. And then that you do see that in the movie too.
Yeah.
When they're, attempting to run at the end.
And she's just like,
very
I can't.
frustrating.
Yeah.
But in her defense, as we already mentioned, he does a terrible job at explaining what he's seeing.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, let's go, let's run. And she's like, what's going on? Like,
yeah.
She doesn't know that these children are murdering everybody.
Yeah, because at that point, when he's finally like grabs her hand and is like, we got to run, we got to get to the boat. By that point, he has already seen Marian Salgado, the young girl, beating an old man almost to death with his own cane.
Right.
And
Evelyn sees it too, but it's behind a wall.
Yeah.
And then he assures her that the man's okay.
Right.
Which is, obviously, I don't know why he's keeping all this stuff from her. To keep her calm.
Yeah.
She's pregnant. He doesn't want any complications. But at the same time, when it involves your life, you should be quite honest.
Yeah, I think so. It's like there's a certain point where you got to be like, okay, I can be honest here, but I need to stay calm, and we're just going to run. And
I just saw these kids, treat another old man like a fucking busted pinata.
Yeah. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, they drag the kid, the old man's body. I don't know how they did. I mean, well, I guess if you've got enough kids, you can hoist a body up. But yeah, they hang a man upside down and start treating him like a fucking piñata, and it's fantastic.
With like this scythe, like this instead of a stick. And then they don't show it. They don't show a whole lot of gore, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
The thing about this movie is there's this deliberate pacing, obviously. It's this kind of mystery, although I'd argue that intro kind of tries to explain why these children are the way they are because of the atrocities of what adults, put them through in life and in wars and history. But there's this deliberate pacing that's the main reason I love this movie, is because you're always guessing. You don't know if this is some sort of supernatural element or why these kids are doing this, but these dead bodies and the way they're acting is so casually presented. So like when they first get there, Evelyn sits at this bar that's just, closed with burning chicken in the background. And he goes to get some food. He goes to the shop and gets her, like a hat, which is good because she looks very sunburned. But, some groceries, some bread and stuff, some sardines. He goes into the shop and the camera's just kind of panning on him and following him walk through the aisles. And it goes down and follows just his feet. And that's when you see the first dead adult,
body,
and she's she's kind of half undressed too. So that's where you get, I had read, I think on the commentary that was mentioned that the book, the kids were very sexually driven.
Mm-hmm.
There's hints of that in this movie. You see that there. And then there's another scene where they're stripping this dead body.
Right. It seems more like we don't get, we see like the half naked body in the grocery store, but no one's doing anything with it. But that one later, it seems more out of like curiosity because they're children.
Yeah. They're just kind of peeking under.
Yeah. They're like, oh, what do boobies look like? You know? So
I get that. No, but how everything is so, and because it's this isolated situation, when Tom sees all this stuff, he doesn't see the dead body in the shop, so that's treated like just a piece of garbage or like just something that you can buy at the shop. It's just there in passing. But when he sees, when he opens up, there's another scene where he opens up one of the rooms in I guess it's one of the hotels, and then there's 2 dead bodies there, which is very, it's gross looking at him. He has no reaction whatsoever. And I think it's due to the isolation and, him not wanting to trigger his wife. But to me, that's what makes it even more like built up dread, is the fact that there's no reaction to all this death until the very end. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I love the way that it's presented. One of my favorite scenes, though, like I said, the deliberate pacing is, I love the scene where there's this random focus on the telephone calls.
Yeah.
And it's just this, it's kind of a recurring reminder of this dread and horror that's, it's happening to this couple. But it's this woman. So Evelyn gets a phone call first while she's sitting there, while Tom's kind of, getting groceries. She's in that bar. The phone randomly rings and she picks it up. And it's like a different language, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
well, obviously
German,
for her. Yeah. And she doesn't know what he's saying. She's saying it's a woman's voice. She hangs up. He comes back. Phone rings again. It's the same woman. And then a little later, it happens again, like when they're at the call board, this phone board of the hotel. And then you finally see the kids kind of bust through this wall where this woman is trying to call for help and trying to alert people. And they just come in and they murder her. That's one of my favorite recurring scenes because it just keeps adding to the mystery and it keeps adding to the dread. And people can call for help, but it's not happening on this isolated island. It's really good. It's really effective.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. So one of the other things that came up in the commentary too, and this is not a giallo. I just want to be very clear about that, but it does have elements of that, specifically the fish out of water sort of foreign tourist aspect of it, which I really enjoyed. And I think obviously the kills are probably one of like my favorite parts. Like we already talked about the piñata death, but like the way that they're killing people, it's like you have to think about, well, kids don't know, even when they get guns, like they don't know what they're doing with guns kind of thing.
Right.
So
it's very innocent and all just a game.
Yeah, exactly. It's all a game to them. I think this movie really turns for me. And even though they've been running this whole time and you've seen these dead bodies leading up to it, once they're in the police station and they lock themselves up in that one room, and they have one kid that gets hoisted up into the window and he's about to shoot Evelyn, and Tom turns around and doesn't even hesitate and shoots the kid right there.
Yeah.
And then like the blood is coming down the wall. I remember the first time I watched this movie and I was just like, raised hands, just like, this is the greatest movie ever. Like, thank you.
Yes, that scene is so good. Because what really works is this is a tiny kid because it's a very small window and they hoist him up. And my favorite part is how he's struggling to pull back the hammer.
Yeah.
He has to reposition his hands a few times. And then when he cocks it, they hear him. Mm-hmm. He turns and he gives this smile like, like, look what I got. And then boom. Like, yeah, that's that scene. Yeah. Same reaction for me. And then there's another scene, the very ending.
Yeah.
We'll get there. That I was just like completely surprised and taken off guard. I loved it.
Yeah. In that, when they're locked up in that same room after they've shot the kid, they have this sort of break from the children chasing after them, because up until that point, no one has fought back against the children. No one has killed a child.
I mean, who can kill a child? Yeah.
Erica. So they have this break and they are like, okay, we can relax for a little bit. Now, earlier when Evelyn was at the restaurant, one of the kids had come in and she talked to her very briefly, and the little girl went up to her belly. And this is why I would never be pregnant, because if anyone came up to just touch me, just stop it, get away. I mean, aside from every other reason, I don't ever want children and be pregnant and just. But the little girl goes up to her and puts her head against her and is like touching it, and you think like, oh, it's just like this sort of innocent moment where a child is like curious about pregnancy. And then you find out later that whatever supernatural, whatever element, whatever thing it is that is allowing these kids to recruit other kids into their murder mob is passed to this baby, and the baby inside Evelyn is killing her.
Yes.
And she starts bleeding from between her legs, and eventually the baby from inside her kills her.
Yeah, that's the other scene that just completely took me off guard. I mean, because there's moments where you don't even think she's pregnant. She's getting around just fine. There's no real focus on it other than that scene in the the scene where she's in the bar and the child comes and some of the passerbyers ask, like, oh, is your wife going to the island with you? Mm-hmm. And because of her state, that's why I'm asking. But I kind of forgot she was pregnant in a lot of scenes. And then when that scene started happening, I realized, holy shit. Okay. Yeah. I know she's pregnant, obviously, but it didn't even cross my mind that the movie was going to go that route to where, again, you don't know what happened to these children. You don't know why they're killing. I mean, other than that stupid social message in the beginning, but you don't know why they're acting the way they are. And then when there is a scene too, where, it's a random scene, which it adds to the evilness of the children. And I guess it kind of helps. It doesn't help to explain, but it shows you that, when they go and visit that Spanish woman, and
on the other side of the island, and she's the only other adult other than, the crying child's father, that they find alive. And, she has her own children, and they seem normal at that point. They're playing, they're having fun. Yeah.
Obviously, they're living with her mother. They're not killing her. And then the children on the other side of the island who have been killing follow Tom and Evelyn, who meet this woman, and they interact with the woman's children. And when I say interact, all they pretty much do is walk up to them and stare at them face to face, and kind of telepathically. I don't know. There's some sort of message.
Yeah.
Like they're programming each other. And I guess that's what they do to Evelyn's baby. Yeah. So when the baby ends up killing and tearing and ripping apart Evelyn from the inside, it didn't even cross my mind that would have been the route that this movie was taking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when that happened, I was just like, okay, this is a whole other element. And I don't know. It just kind of, again, it enforced that. I think that opening was so stupid with the documentary footage. Like, just get rid of that.
Yeah. I mean, if I think next time I watch it, I'll probably just like fast forward or skip next.
Yeah. Well, I think the cut's on there. The Island of Death cut or whatever is on the Mondo Macabre. And that's what I would watch next for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Evelyn's killed. And then Tom has his machine gun.
Yes.
And that's when the killing really starts.
Yeah. I mean, he's killed one kid, like the little boy who tried to shoot Evelyn. But yeah, he grabs a gun, he leaves a police station, and he comes across just this wall of children, one of them holding a baby.
Yes.
And he hesitates, for a while. I'll give him that. Like, and I get it. As much as I hate children, and as easy as it would be for me to survive this situation, I get it. He has kids. His wife just died. Like, I get it.
But they're all like smiling at it. And when you see the demon witch child, she's like, oh, I'm like, oh God, I'm going to kill you. I don't even know you.
But yeah, he just sprays the whole line of them, and he takes out a bunch of kids, runs through them. And then when he finally gets to the dock, and this is another reason that I love this movie, because I love me a downbeat ending. Every fucking movie that ties everything up in a nice little bow and is like, see, everyone's fine.
Right.
Hey, we defeated the evil, and oh, my love is a lot, and bleh, fuck off. I don't like those movies because that's not reality. Reality is evil and mean, and I mean, I know you You like life a little bit more than I do, I think. But
Well, life is a little bit of everything, Erica. There's happiness and love. And
so he gets to the dock and he gets the boat untied and he's about to take off, but then the children have
scissors and fishing knives in their hands, and they're like coming out of the water like Jace. I mean, they're coming from every direction
angle.
and just stabbing him. And he has like oars and just he's hitting them, bashing their heads in, killing them, and they're just attacking.
Yeah.
And as they're fighting, from the mainland comes a boat with policemen.
Yeah.
And they see this man attacking children. And as any adult would assume, the children are in the good, which fuck that. I think this film is a good argument to charge children with crimes.
Yes.
At any age, it should be just a human crime.
Right. That's the thing too, is like one of the reasons that I like movies that kill children, aside from I don't like children, is because it's this long-standing taboo that you can't, you shouldn't kill children. It's considered a taboo because children are inherently innocent. And it's like, no, they're fucking not. Like, I think we need to really get over this idea that it takes a certain number of years for someone to be found accountable for their actions and to develop into an evil type of person. Like, I get that there's something supernatural happening here because it's like a massive group of children.
Right.
It's not just one evil kid. Like, there's a movie, Mikey, about this orphan kid, and he's just straight up fucking evil. And I love that movie because it's not because of something supernatural. It's not because, he's fucking Damien and the devil is his father.
It's just how he was born.
It's just how he's just an evil little shit.
Right.
And so the fact that people still get so upset about children dying in movies, we need to get over this. It's taboo to kill children and, oh, children are innocent. I'm like, no, they're fucking not. And they should be held accountable for their actions as much as adults are. Like, maybe, if things are accidents, we can prove that in court as adults as well. For the most part, I guess. I don't want to get in the court system.
Right.
But
yeah,
it's like...
It goes back to, like you said, Sarah Dore obviously had a message. She obviously loves children. So he's putting the blame on why these children are reacting and killing the way they are on adults and what they've done through history. But you could look at it from another angle and say adults act this way because of children. They're starting wars because we want our children to be free. Getting back into the political aspect of things. When you look at political parties and they make arguments for any reason, whether it be like pro-life, pro-choice, equal housing, whatever it is, it always has something to do with the children.
Right.
So the children are kind of the catalyst of all this horrible things that are happening,
Yeah. See, the message is if people just stopped having children, we would have world peace.
Well, we would all die because...
Well, eventually, and we should, because we've destroyed this planet. So,
Well, we might as well just keep living the way we are and just let it go down in flames. And, see, maybe we can come to, some sort of a time period where people will know that children are evil. And I'm not just saying all children are evil. I do think, with religion, you're kind of programmed and you're taught your belief systems and stuff. Sure. But people are born, people can be born with some sort of imbalances or, I don't know. People are reincarnated.
What?
So there's Charles Manson. The Charles Mansons are out there. There's people that are out there no, I'm not going to go.
Okay. Let's talk about reincarnation. I've already given you enough leeway with old ghost bullshit. We're not going to get into reincarnation now.
Okay.
But no, to that point though, we're so happy to accept when people are born geniuses or extremely
child prodigies who can play, Mozart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or people who are born extremely empathetic. But when we're so unwilling to accept that the opposite exists, which to me is just absurd. It's like, no, there are people who are born just straight up. There's something wrong with them.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Just accept that they're evil. Mikey in that movie, evil little shit.
I guess I need to see Mikey.
You need to see Mikey.
But yeah, back to the end of the movie. The cop, obviously, the police on this boat pull up. Tom is attacking these children who are, attacking him as well. But the policemen focus in on an adult who's hitting children with oars and pipes. So what do?
Of course, they shoot him.
They shoot him and they kill him. And it's been mentioned too, but it's very Night of the Living Dead ending for Romero's of, the innocent man being shot at the end.
Right.
But yeah, he falls in the water and dies. And then the children, the adult cops are on their island. So what do you think happens next?
Of course, yeah.
They kill the cops and they create a gang to head back to the mainland.
Yeah. Start spreading it.
Take it global, baby.
Yeah.
And that's where at first I was like, okay, this is some sort of maybe like a Bermuda Triangle type of thing where these children are on this isolated island, that's when they become what they are.
Yeah.
But that doesn't jive with, that the Spanish woman and her children who are fine on the other side of the island until the other ones come.
It could be the whole island itself, though. Like that whole idea. So,
and then they take it to the mainland and then use their telepath, their programming skills, just staring into other kids' eyes, and then that's when kids take over the world. But what happens when they become adults?
Good question. I mean, I would like to think that
we need a sequel. Is what we need. That's what that guy should have done instead of a remake.
No, not that guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
No. No, I like the ambiguous. I like the ambiguity of this movie. Yeah. I like not knowing why they're evil. I like not knowing what's going to happen when they get to the mainland.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Are they going to be able to spread their malice? I like not having to show everything before Tom and Evelyn arrived, the build up, like you just show up and this is how it is.
That's
and
my favorite. Yeah.
They have to figure it out. We have to figure it out along with them. So
yeah, I love, trying to figure out the mystery of what's happening on screen in the plot.
Yeah.
And even when it's not even directly or completely answered and leaves it open-ended like this, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get to ratings and recommendations. Lance, let's start with you.
This was the first time I watched it. Great pick, thank you. I did pick up the Mondo Macabro. I just bought it because I knew it was going to rock my world, and it did. I loved it.
Trust in Erica, folks.
Yeah, most of the time.
Well, the same to be said about you too, Lance. So.
Oh, yeah. All the time for me. I would say at least 80%. But yeah, I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I do want to watch the version without all the the stock footage in the beginning. I think I would enjoy it way more. But yeah, the scenes we've already talked about. That's what kind of kept my rating. The shopkeepers section, the intro. But I would totally recommend it. Like you said, we need to get over this whole taboo of children, shouldn't be killed or harmed in horror movies. So that's my main reason for recommending this.
Yeah.
Like this is reason that we shouldn't have that perspective.
Yeah. I think this is just, it's a 4.5 out of 5 for me. This is, I think I've already said it multiple times, but one of my favorite movies of all time, not just because of the child killing aspect, although that is a big part of it, but because of how well it's executed and the fact that they were able to make a daytime horror movie that is so incredibly effective. Daytime horror is really hard to get right. And they did a great job with this. So if you don't have the Mondo Blu-ray, I definitely recommend picking it up. It's got great special features on it. I feel like it's just a must-own for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. And this was Sarah Doerr's last feature film, or at least horror film.
Well, he did that one I mentioned.
Blame, or what was it?
Yes, Blame. He did 2006 when he did the 6 films to keep you awake.
Yeah, I'm impressed that he didn't. Well, I'm impressed, but also a little bummed out because this movie is so well photographed, so well paced. I would have loved to see him do something else, but I totally get it. Like, can you top this?
Yeah, exactly. It's like maybe just you went out on your high note, and he went back to television and just did that for most of his life, and that's fine. I would. I love this movie. I hate its message,
right?
And I choose to ignore it, and that's how I keep my favor with it. So, what about a double feature for you?
So I'm going way more super. I mean, I'm going Killer Children, And obviously, most of the movies out there are more supernatural, more campy than anything like Who Can Kill a Child. So I'm going to go with The Children from 1980.
Oh, Black Fingernails. I love that movie.
Yeah, Black Fingernails. These kids, so the whole premise is the children kind of in town become these, I don't know, hugging killer zombies, where they turn adults or anyone they come into contact with into like these John Carpenter, Prince of Darkness looking open wound sacks of exposed meaty tissue. The makeup is amazing. And similar to the Yellow Pollen from the story or the novel that Who Can Kill a Child is loosely adapted from, the cause of this is the killer children is due to a leak at a nuclear power plant.
Right.
But yeah, when they become these possessed children, basically all they have is these black fingernails and this really kind of lame makeup where they kind of look like Billy Corgan from Tonight Tonight video.
Sure.
It's like black eye. But it also has a strong sense of mystery and dread.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to figure out. The opening scene is in this nuclear power plant. That's very kind of, it doesn't really. It hints at this might be the cause, but you're not really focused in on it.
Right.
So you're kind of trying to figure out and understand the reasons why these children are the way they are. It has a great ending. Maybe a little with some similarities to Who Can Kill a Child, but totally different tone, way more camp. The gore is great. So that's the one I recommend.
Nice.
I would end it on the children, so you're not as bummed out. Although it has a pretty bummer ending, but it's not as as horrible as Who Can Kill a Child. That ending is very much a downer.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is. I know Vinegar Syndrome had a Blu-ray release, and I don't know if it's streaming it.
I don't know if it's streaming, but yeah, you should pick up the Vinegar Syndrome. I'm sure they still have some kind. I actually did a guest spot on another podcast to talk about this movie where I got to pick the movie and I picked this one.
Oh, nice.
Because every time I go there, I've been on that show twice. They mostly podcast at night. So first time I went, it was Don't Torture a Duckling. And then the next time I came back, I was like, well, I'm going to bring more child murder. So I brought the children. They both hated it. And so I know. I had to go on the defense. I made a case. I made them like it more.
Is it because of the children? The killing of the whole...
No.
Okay,
it wasn't because of that.
Okay.
Like they have a Kintner Award on their show for when there's a child kill. So it's like they weren't against that part of it. I think they just didn't appreciate the cheap campiness of it.
Yeah,
which I
that's
love.
definitely there. Yeah, same. And I mean, the children is different than Who Can Kill a Child, because once the adults figure out what's happening, they go after the kids with knives and sword or axes, and so you see sliced up children, which is great. The way it's presented is hilarious.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Fun fact about that movie: the dog in that movie,
the dead.
It doesn't die in the movie. Well, it dies in the movie, but it's not really dead. Got adopted by one of the crew members. I can't remember if it was like the director or somebody, producer or something, but whoever found the big Doberman, whoever found that dog to use in that scene, got him from like a shelter or something. And they used the dog. They drugged it up for that scene, obviously. And then he ended up getting adopted. So it was nice,
That's why everybody should watch this movie.
All the more reason to support that movie is because they saved a dog's life too. So.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm going to surprise everyone and not do a child murder double feature. Oh. I know. Okay. If I was going to, I would say Beware Children at Play, 1989, because it's got the greatest mass child murder montage at the very end of it. But I'm going to go with a daylight horror double feature.
Nice.
So my double feature pick would be And Soon the Darkness, 1970. This is directed by Robert Fuest. He did both of the Dr. Phibes movies and The Devil's Reign. So great filmography there. Thematically, these movies have nothing in common. But I've said it already multiple times on this podcast that daylight horror is really hard to get right, and this is another movie that does it really well. So it's about two British girls who are on vacation and they're riding their bikes across France. They get in an argument, and one of the girls leaves. The girl she leaves behind ends up going missing. And so the other girl is on her bike, like trying to figure out what happened. And there's very few characters in it, kind of similar to Who Can Kill a Child if you don't count the children. And it starts off pretty slow because you're just like, okay, what's happening here? But once the girl disappears and the other girl is trying to figure out what happened to her, the very few people that she does interact with Like everyone is a suspect for what's happened. And you slowly start to piece together that, oh, another girl was killed here years ago, same situation, like riding bicycles, touring through the countryside. And it does a really good job of making you question, like, yeah, who can she trust? Like, is it this person? Is it some unknown person? This is really good. This was streaming on Canopy. So it's one of those streaming services where you use your public library card to log in and watch a few movies per month for free.
Yeah, I've had that one on my watch list. I want to see it.
Yeah, it's really good. I definitely recommend it. So I would do, oh God, I don't know what order I'd go in.
They both seem like downers. It's like,
yeah. And I don't want to ruin the ending for And Soon the Darkness, so I won't say whether it's a downer or not. So I'd go Who Can Kill a Child first. Let's get the audience ramped up on some child murder, and then they'll let the adrenaline kill them through the slow burn of And Soon the Darkness. So
I like it.
So, Lance, what is your No Rules November pick?
No Rules November pick. So this was incredibly difficult.
I haven't looked at the spreadsheet. I have no idea what this is.
I haven't even added it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've had a list that I've been going back and forth with, kind of thinking, what can I pick? Should I, obviously I want to pick something that I love. I'm not going to pick Friday the 13th or should I go Carpenter? Should I get Argento? But it was very difficult because I love that we have these fewer than 1,000 views.
It makes
rules.
It easier.
It does. It narrows it down. This was really hard, but my heart kept going back to this one movie.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it's a lot more popular, at least in the States, than obviously Who Can Kill a Child. In the last couple of years too, it's really starting to take off. So I'm getting goofy here.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully I don't divide a whole lot of audience because I think you kind of love or hate it. I'm going to go Mad Men, 1981's Mad Men.
Okay.
Directed by Joe Giannone. This is a straight, I think a lot of our listeners will know what Mad Men is. It's been, Vinegar Syndrome has a release. I think Arrow, even at Films, has a release. Mm-hmm. But it's a straight up, nothing fancy here. We're here for a good time, 80s slasher. Slasher in the Woods movie. So the plot is kind of what you expect. A group of young children and horny camp counselors they're told about this legend of Madman Mars, who's a man who lived in the woods and that they're staying, and he murdered his family with an axe. And it said that calling his name awakens him, which one of the teenagers does, mm-hmm. and then boom, it's killing time. So Madman separates itself from classic 80s slashers because, for me, I think it separates itself because it has original songs in it, which are catchy as fuck. This grunting killer, which you don't see very often, kind of like Joe Spinell, kind of just heaving and just grunting too much. And it takes place in November, so it's not like a summer camp thing. This takes place a week before Thanksgiving, which is perfect timing for the episode as well. Oh, that's
true. Yeah, good time.
So Madman, it's streaming on Tubi, but there's also Vinegar Syndrome Blue out there. This was actually one of my first Vinegar Syndrome pickups for me personally. I picked it up with Sweet Sweetback's badass song.
Nice.
And I love this movie. I think a lot of people have seen it, but I just want to talk about it.
I feel like it was on Joe Bob a few years ago.
It was on Joe Bob.
Because I remember Cody doing a drawing for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was covered on Joe Bob. So that's why I think a lot of people have seen it. Mm-hmm. I did look at the views. Just I was wondering how much and it does have like over 8,000 views, but it's No Rules November.
Yeah, who cares?
This is what we're doing this month, and I love it. So, Madman Mars is next. Don't say his name.
You just did. We're fucked.
We're fucked, but we'll be able to record the episode before he shows up.
Okay. Sure. All right. If you are not already, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Slasher, all at Unsung Horrors. You can follow me on Letterboxd, Instagram, and Twitter at Hex Massacre.
You can follow me on Letterboxd, Twitter, and Instagram at L Scheibe.
And next week, we will have our bonus episode for our Horror Gives Back challenge, where we're going to go through our picks. We'll also give an update on how much money we were able to raise for that. And just to, shout out to everyone who's been participating and sharing their picks online, and especially those who've donated. We'll be sure to shout out all those people in that episode. So thanks for participating in that, and looking forward to going through lots of movies in next week's episode.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
I think my count's at like 90 something. I'm
Well,
not going to talk about.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
not going to talk about all of them.
Yes.
Like I literally am like, okay, here's my count up. Here's all my extras. It's like 60 something. Here's the 30 I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
I promise I will not talk about 90 movies because honestly, I'm not going to recommend all of them. And a lot of them are just rewatches anyway. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you back next week for our bonus episode, followed by Madman.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, it's Death by Video.
I'm Phil.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Graham saying welcome to our podcast full of merry movie mayhem.
Ever wonder what an Irish kung fu movie would look like?
It's called Fatal Deviation, and we covered it.
Ever wonder what a movie about 1,000 cats would look like?
It's called Night of 1,000 Cats, and we covered it.
And it stars Hugo Stiglitz. Listen to Death by Video to hear us discuss and dissect some of the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest films ever made. All this and more on Death by Video! Woo!